Hi, hello. Okay. So hi. Yeah, I couldn't think of a title, so it's just non-duality this evening. Sometimes nothing comes. Oh. So welcome to the stream. So I go live at 6 o'clock every Thursday evening, and yeah, you can just join and watch, and you can listen, and you can ask questions. And the way you ask questions is through Skype. My Skype address is Rebekah Maroon. So you just send questions in, and I can answer them and respond to them after my introduction. So I just kind of sit for a little bit, and then I'll start speaking about something related to non-duality, and then open for questions. And I have no background today. I've realized that my body hides the mess on the floor, so it's kind of okay without the background now. I have a new bed frame, so it's helped. So we'll just see what comes out. Thank you for the like, thumbs up. I'm taking it as my audio is okay. I can be heard. So we think, normally we think we are a person, we are someone in front. We think we are limited, we think we are small, we think we are a collection of ideas and experiences and memories, a collection of thoughts and ideas and feelings. And so we're always trying to make that into a thing, into someone. We're trying to always conjure up this idea of who we are as a character and making it solid and real. So we're always trying to uphold this illusion, this identity, as a truth, as a reality, as a someone. And so much of our energy is going into trying to uphold this image of who we are, trying to uphold this story of who we are, and trying to make it a permanent thing, a permanent person, object. But this is miraculous, this discovery of this subject, which is pointing out the minuscule size of that character, the not the irrelevance of it, but like it's not the be all and end all as the way it feels when you're identified as that character. It's not the be all and end all. It's just an image, let's say, or a movement on the screen, a picture. But when there's that identification as that, there's this constant trying to make that more than what it is, trying to uphold it and make it into a thing that it isn't. It isn't the be all and end all of this. There's something so much greater than that character. There's something so much greater than that storyline of someone in time. And that's what's forgotten, or that's what's seemingly covered over in the beginning of that separation, the beginning of that dream starting to play out. It's like a dream. You forgetting who you are beyond that character, that appearance, that play. So the person or the mind doesn't forget. The mind is the forgetting. The mind is that dream, that illusion, that story. It's just this becoming a person, is becoming identified as if you are someone looking through the eyes, as if you are someone living. That seems to be on the screen, and it seems to be bigger, which of course it isn't, but it seems that way when that's all That's all there is. That's all there is. But magically and miraculously and mystically, there's this beautiful pointing to something else beyond that limitation, something else beyond that story of you. And it's monumentally bigger than that story of someone. It's right here. It's right here. Nothing special, nothing extra. It's here. It's not been hidden. It's here. It's here. The problem is for the person or for the mind that's looking for something, the problem is it's not a thing to find. And so the mind can never find it. The storyline can never find it because it isn't an it. It isn't a thing. The storyline can only deal with things, objects, forms, labels, concepts, words, language. That's its functioning tools and ability. It's just in language and pictures, interpreting. So it really is mysterious how this is. It's mysterious how this is pointed to, but it's pointed to because it's here, it's alive, it's free, it's here. And so yes, there are words, there's language, there's pointing, there's descriptions, and the words are saying here, 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 not here in the words, but here what's being pointed to. It's not a thing. The mind can't get it. It's not a personal achievement or arriving or getting hold of. It's not at all personal. It's just this emptiness, which is full. This empty fullness. It's full emptiness. And it's right here as all things. There's nothing mystical about it. It's mystical and yet it's so not mystical. Like it's here, it's this, but it's so like it's so yeah. It's the freest thing there is. It's the freest thing there is. It's the freest thing there is. It's free. So you believe you are someone, you believe you're in time, you believe you have to do something to get it in time. You have to find it, you have to heal, you have to fix all your problems, you have to do all these things, and that's relevant maybe for the human experience. Yes, you have things you might need to look at and heal and improve, and that's all relevant for a human, but that's not what's being spoken about. It's got nothing to do with the human and the human story, which is really bizarre, really crazy and bizarre and impossible for the mind to get. The mind will only think This is to do with me in my life. This is about me in my life. This is about me getting it, me understanding it, me feeling it, me grasping it, me knowing it. So this is totally bypassing that. It's totally bypassing that story of it being about you. It's wickedly free. That doesn't mean you, the human, can't do things. You can do things. You can do yoga, meditation. You can calm down your energy. You can have therapy. You can discuss your childhood with a therapist. You can do Tai Chi. You can do yoga. You can have healing Reiki. You can not do any of that. You can play football. You can do whatever you're doing to improve your life. You can get a better job. You can do whatever hobby you have. This has nothing to do with the human. What's being pointed to, this freedom, is free. It's free regardless of who you are as a human, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your personality traits. This is a freedom beyond any of that. That's why it's free. That's why it's so beautiful. It's free. But at the same time, the human is affected by this. It is affected by this. But it's not a forced affected by. So when you're seeking to find wholeness and you're seeking in fixing who you are or fixing things or trying to grasp at something, it's a forced seeking. It's a forced energy that's trying to get somewhere and trying to do something. The human's affected, but it's more of a gentle like a gentleness about it. So to put it into language, so this is discovered, this radical freedom, this empty being, this empty fullness is discovered to be what this is, or what you are. And then that discovery, let's say, affects the human. It affects the human. It relaxes the human. It affects the human. But it has nothing to do with the human at the same time. So when you first get into this subject or in spirituality, you may often, there's a feeling of, if I do all this work, I'll then get to this freedom, this beingness, this emptiness, this fullness, this love. But it's totally the other way around. Like, discovering who you are is primary, and then maybe, possibly, maybe often, there's the humans then affected by it. But it is totally impersonal. It's not about you. It's not about the human. Because what this is isn't human. What this is beyond human. It's beyond just being a human form, or a cat form, or a fish form, or a horse form, or a dog form, or a bird form, or a book form, or a table form, or a computer form, or a door form. It's beyond any forms, beyond all forms. Like, there couldn't be form without emptiness, without this beingness. That's what all forms are, empty, full. But these words are just words. They're just form appearing. I say just, but I don't mean just as in they're any less important than the radiator creaking or the light from the computer. But they are just words appearing. They aren't any better or more important than the itching on the bum or the sound of the floorboards creaking. We believe often that words are so important, that what is being spoken is so important, and it really isn't. That's what's so radical about this. Like the words are being spoken and they're saying what they're saying, but at the same time they're saying bullshit, 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 not true, not true, not true. So the words are like slitting their own throats, like it's not true. And this is the seeking mind, believing it can find something in words, in thoughts, in stories, believing that home is found in the instructions. If I follow instructions enough, if I listen, read enough, understand it enough, then I'll go home. But as the witch says in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy already had the slippers on. She already had home at her disposal. She didn't have to go down following the yellow brick road all that time. She didn't have to go on and meet the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Lion, because she already had home. But at the same time, that's what's happened. That seeming journey to meet Lion and Scarecrow and Tin Man was perfect. That was her journey to discover that the whole time there was home, and it wasn't lost or hidden. It was right there, right there. So this is seemingly a journey. There seems to be a journey, but the journey is transparent. That it doesn't really happen, but it seems to be going to speakers and teachers and talks and things, and the books and the listening and the highs of it and the lows of it, and the all of it is part of it. However it happens, however it appears, this is life happening, this is life appearing. It can't possibly be wrong. If it's happening, it's happening. If it's happening, it's happening. And that's the most overlooked thing. What is happening? Because there's a dream of something else. There's a dream of other than what is happening, what is not. So this message is a wake-up call. A wake-up call to this. A wake-up call to life happening. Nothing more, nothing less. Life happening. But it not happening to someone. Not happening for someone. Doesn't belong to that imagined person. It's not happening to that imagined person. it's happening. I felt paralysed then. I went all paralysed. I lost all movement in my body. Oh dear. Okay, let's see if any questions are being asked. Oh dear. Thank you for subscribing, Steve Harbin. Sorry, Steve. Thank you for subscribing. I won't say your full name. Okay. Active. So feel free to send any questions you might have on Skype. I could open chat, I suppose, and let you do it on here as well. Oh, I can't see. Ah, there you go. Oh, bloody hell! I've just pressed something by accident. That's okay. Okay. So there's no questions at the moment. I'll give it a bit longer, then I'll. Yeah. Hi, Dorth. That's on Skype. Hi, Dorth. Could you say something about the problem is the solution? I think you're writing more, so I'll wait until you've finished. Oh, are you still writing the question? You stopped typing now. The problem is the solution. I heard about it yesterday. Yeah, I'd have to know more of the context of the question, really. The problem is the solution. That's obviously someone's response, but I don't really know what the problem was that was asked, and so it's hard for me to know what that means. So if someone's problem is I have no money, I mean, how's that the solution? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, any problem. So I have no money is the problem. I can't pay my rent, let's say. How is it the solution? It sounds as if that's somebody else's response to a question, so I can't really comment on someone's response to a question. That's what's come out of their communication, so I can't really respond to what they were pointing at. I suppose you could say I suppose you could say if the problem was like, okay, I can't pay my rent. The problem is I can't pay my rent this week and it's due. In a way, I can see how that is the solution, in the sense that that's the way it is. So you can't really get out of that. So you have no money to pay the rent. Like an acceptance of that. That's the situation. That's what it is. It's not a problem. It's what is. I have no money to pay the rent. It doesn't need to become a problem. So I can see it. I can see it in that way. Like maybe it's meant like that. Like the solution is accepting that you have no money to pay the rent. That's the solution. This radical acceptance of what is. So rather than trying to fight that and resist that with complaining and with fear and panic, what's being said possibly is that's what is. You have no money to pay the rent. There can be a radical okayness with that. That doesn't mean you don't try and pay your rent. You don't try and borrow money. You don't try and sort it out. But first of all, that is where you're at. You can't pay your rent tomorrow. That's like, that can be so beautiful in a way. Just that acceptance of that, like full stop. And then there can be action taken. Then there can be a movement. Inspiration can appear. Oh, I know. But first of all, that's the full stop. You can't pay the rent. But I don't know. I don't know what was being expressed there. Oh. Thank you. Hi, Steve. So, any last minute questions? Hi, Titania. Heart to you too. I can't do a heart. Heart to you. No. Heart. Yeah. Heart to you too. Yeah. Oh, Steve's written a question in chat. Can you talk about fear? Has it a life of its own that seems to attach itself to thoughts? It's like a movement, like a warm, I'd call it a warm energy or something. Fear. Like a warm but quick energy. Yeah, like a quick, hot, quick energy. Fear. Like a flickering. It's telling you something's wrong. Something's wrong. It's like a warning system. And it's a really normal thing for the body to have, like a warning. There's a potential threat in the environment. Look out. Be ready to, what is it? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Yeah, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So then from that, obviously the mind's going to think, what is it? What's the fear? And start to produce these thoughts around it. What's the risk? What should I do? Kind of thing. But then what's happened is the mind's got so it's so energized in this society. It's so energized now. The mind activity, thinking. And so it's got really out of hand in a way. It's got really like strong thinking. And so the body's saying there's a fear around, but then the mind's going, what is it? What is it? What is it? Trying to find it. And a lot of the time there isn't actually a fearful thing around. We aren't so vulnerable to that many things anymore. But still the mind's gone crazy with the potential threat. Particularly with like trauma as well, there's an enhanced threat. Is that the pattern of the fear response being activated unnecessarily, and that adrenaline and cortisol running through like a habitual addiction, really, like a habit. So the most obvious thing you would think then is to look at that fear rather than like going with the mind and the thoughts about what the potential threat could be, or what it is, or it's them, or it's this, or it's that. We know these are thoughts and they aren't true. So maybe looking back at the fear, going back to the initial fear, going back to that initial feeling of fear. Feeling that adrenaline, feeling that contraction in the body. I'm not saying change it or anything, just acknowledging it. Acknowledging it, which is such a simple thing, but it's not. It's such a big thing to acknowledge what is going on in your system. Like it's such a fucking crazy thing. Like, at least here, there's been so much stuff that's been uncovered, that's been unconscious, that I just didn't know. It was like, you just don't know. Unless you know, you don't know. And so it's like beginning to be aware of what's going on in your system. Like stepping out of the thoughts about things and going into what's actually happening now in my system. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. We're so addicted to the mental aspects, the thoughts and the imagination that yeah, and we're not taught to do that. We're not taught to actually be comfortable with the body. be comfortable with the body, like relax into the body. And things like qigong. Qigong's wonderful. I love qigong now. Qigong is great. Many things really you can do to begin to open the body up, like release old stuff and let the flow of chi like flow through more easier. But yeah, so yeah, basically fear isn't a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing. Maybe the thoughts around it are quite scary, but actually it's not so bad. Nothing's actually that bad. When you face it head on, it's really not that bad. Like this week I had experience where I spoke up for myself in a shop where I would normally just ignore it and go, oh, it's fine, and just, just carry it. But I didn't. I felt so emotionally like affected by this person being quite aggressive and rude to me in the shop. I complained about it and I felt really good for doing that. But yeah, normally I would avoid speaking up. I'd avoid talking about it and confrontation and yeah. So, but to do that was really empowering. So what I'm trying to say is like nothing's really that bad. The mind makes up stories about stuff and complicates things. And thoughts are there for a reason, that they do have their place, but like thoughts on their own are just gonna create so much havoc. Like believed in thoughts create so much havoc. Excitement as well, but also havoc. But also, so what's just coming now is like fear. I think like if you go back, or if you like, as I was saying, fear is a natural response, a natural thing to happen. Like in this environment, there has to be fear coming up to signal a potential threat. But I think like heavy, big fear, heavy, strong fear, a lot of that is around being separate, around you really being vulnerable to threat. Like you are a limited person here in this environment and you are vulnerable. There's a natural fear around that, a body protection fear. But a lot of fear is in that being who you are, this person, a human being who you are. And it's just simply not true. There isn't a limited person, vulnerable, limited person here. So it amplifies the fear, if you like, believing it to be true. But as we become more and more individualistic, so I'm an individual, this is my life, this is my home, these are my things, then naturally there's going to be more and more fear about protecting those things, protecting my home. Thank you. This is exactly what I've been doing. Just become interested in the feeling itself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's nothing to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so oh, what's that? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, what a lovely stream. Thank you for your questions and for taking part, and yeah, thank you. It's been lovely to share and speak about this. So lots of love. Have a good week. Bye. See you next time.